The snow had receded from the stone walls, the air turned mild enough to open the front door for an hour or two, and the birds, those tireless heralds of hope, had begun to sing again. I took these as signs most promising, and set to planning my garden, seeing to the repairs needed about the house, and preparing for the season's necessary product orders and errands. But as is often the case in our part of New England, nature took pause, and with it, so did I, at least on the outside. Without noise or fuss, a gentle snow began to fall, softly, steadily, and with such quiet persuasion that I could not help but welcome it. It drifted down for several days, dressing the back field and stone wall in white once more, as if the earth and flowers wished for a bit more rest before waking. And so I turned my attentions inward. Within the house, I busied myself with the indoor garden trays, tending to the green shoots of asparagus, leeks, and sweet peas that bring such cheer during these lingering days of cold. During the week, I made my way into town to shop for bathroom fixtures, collect supplies for the many projects we have long intended to make about the home and property, followed by a stroll around a few mercantile shops where a few thrifted items and beautiful posies were purchased, followed by a few homemaking chores that I've been putting off. During the last few evenings of winter-like weather, I have taken particular pleasure sitting in front of the fire with Mr. Benjamin, with the snow still falling beyond the window panes. I find a quiet satisfaction in the stillness, a time to reflect, to prepare, and to simply be. So come, if you will, and join me for a little while. Let us take comfort in these early spring days and find beauty yet in the waiting. I'm getting ready to pinch back the sweet peas. Now, they could technically go outside very soon here in our zone 5. I'm actually zone B. And we've had the ice storms. We had snow coming down as of a couple hours ago. I'm going to hold off a little bit, but I would still pinch these back whether they were inside or outside, because I want to get some growth down at the bottom versus them just going so high. And look how much they have grown since we planted these together. I love seeing it. So what I'm going to do is pinch them back, and it's just like it says. Many of you might already know this. I will be pinching them, or I could even use my little trimmers here, my little clippers. And then I'm going to give them a little support with some skewers that I did find while I was out thrifting a couple years ago. It was a couple, maybe a year or two ago. You can get these at the grocery store. I should have had some of these pulled out, ready to go. So all I'm going to do, and I'll show you a close-up in a moment, I'm going to go up about 2 of the leaves, and I'm going to pinch right above it, literally just with my fingernail and my finger, and pinch them off. And then I'll put a skewer in. I do wish I planted these in my toilet paper rolls or deeper containers, but it is what it is. I have them here now, and I don't even think I'm going to transplant them like I was thinking of doing. They'll be going outside soon enough, and I'm just going to hold off on that. So I'm just going to tie this onto the skewer nice and gently, and just make a little half knot there. And I'm just going to trim that off. With this, I should probably use some scissors. What I'll do first is I'm going to go around and I'm going to pinch off, or once again, snip 2 of the major leaves up. And then these will start growing right near the bottom. By next week, I'll show you in the video, we should have some new growth coming out there. So I'm going to do this to a few of these. I'm going to go 1, 2, and this one's actually broken above the second leaf there. And I'm going to use my little trimmers. We sharpened these a couple weeks ago, and it'll be a lot easier to do that. So this one here, I have it up to. I'm going to go to this one, 1, 2. I'm just going to give that a little snip. And I'm going to keep doing that here. I think I'll tie some of these up and then just turn around my container here. So here they are all tied up, and this isn't completely necessary to do, but I don't know when I'm going to get these out planted, and in all honesty, they're going to be shooting up past this in probably a week, so they'll have to go out soon. But I want to show you the goal of doing this with the snipping 2 leaves up is it will do side shoots similar to this one. This one did it on its own. But this is going to be the goal. We're going to have some more little shoots coming out of here that are nice and big, and it's going to make it a sturdier plant, such as this one that, once again, did it on its own. I forgot I have to tie that one up. But this is our tray of the heirloom sweet peas. I'm very pleased with how they're growing, and I'm going to do the other tray of sweet peas next. In a moment, I'm going to show you a video from 1946 that's in color, and it is so sweet. Well, I think so at least. So I made the bread pudding again, but this time I added 2 tablespoons of vanilla, and I sprinkled some cinnamon sugar on top just as it was finished baking, and it came out so good. And we brought this to the host's house. I brought some flowers and everything that was needed to serve it other than the dishes, and I put everything in the basket. Now, this video, when Ben found out he had family in Peterborough, they let us know they actually had a video that showed his family at a wedding. His mother's 7 or 8 years old, his grandfather's there, and his great-grandfather and great-grandmother, and we have a painting of this house that's going to be shown in our house. I thought this might be fun to share a little bit of this wedding, and I loved seeing the clothes and the hats and the fascinators that were worn here. So that was Ben's aunt, and that's his great-grandmother. And then pretty soon you're going to see, oh, there's the bride and groom, of course. And then we're going to see his great-grandfather. And then in a moment, we're going to see his grandfather. Oh, roll camera. And here's his grandfather. We have a lot of his things in our home. While watching this, I really did love seeing how the women and the men were dressed, and such a beautiful time. And I did hear Ben say this is the era that he wished he grew up in. And Ben's great-grandfather, is being pointed out again to him. And in a moment, he's going to see his mother for the first time as a little girl, and that's her with the yellow dress and the bows in her hair. I love that there's a video of the wedding reception at the family home. It reminds me a little bit of when Ben and I got married at our home and we had our reception there. And hopefully someday Sugarwood will be used for a wedding or a reception. And we've got a barn coming, so that's my secret hope. I believe the wedding was September 15th, so the garden geek in me is trying to figure out the flowering plants here in the front of the home. I think I'm seeing tulips, but this is a September wedding, so I don't know. Maybe they're yellow daylilies. That could be possible. And I forgot to mention, this is in Gardner, Mass. The home is still standing, but is now a veterinary office. And here is a picture of the home that we have hanging in Sugarwood. And I loved seeing this house being used for a wedding reception with family all around. It just makes this that much more special. From sweet peas to weddings to cleaning a rusty cast iron skillet. You've seen it here, folks. This is a project that I have been putting off. I need to get the rust out of this iron skillet. And we're going to do that with these 2 lemons. And if this doesn't work, I have another trick up my sleeve. So let's get to cleaning out this very rusty iron skillet that we found in the basement. And I'll explain that in a moment. Okay, so I've been putting this off a little bit too long, and I'm getting ready to clean the skillet, as I mentioned. Now, this skillet was found in the basement, but it's not old. I wish I could say it was. This happened when maybe 3 years ago when we first moved in. A plumber needed a bowl, a pot, pan, and I don't know which one of us grabbed this out of probably a moving box and gave it to him, and it stayed there. Ben found this in the basement on the floor recently. So we are going to clean this up. And how many of us have actually passed on buying a skillet that looks like this? Well, we're going to try to clean it today with just lemons and some salt. And there's other ways you can do this as well. You can use vinegar and salt. You can use baking soda and vinegar with some lemon. All these natural things. My father used to use Coca-Cola to clean rust off of bolts and engine parts. We're not going to go that far, but let's give this a go. So all I'm going to do is add some of the lemon juice in here, then some salt, and we're going to keep rubbing. I am going to put some gloves on, mainly because it's messy. All right, I'm just going to squeeze some juice in here, and it's okay if some seeds get in there. A lot of seeds. All right, and then I'm going to just put some salt. And I'm going to use the lemon itself to scrub this. The lemon juice is what's going to start activating against the rust. The salt is being used as an abrasive. Yeah, here we go. And I'm going to get this nice and lemon juicy, and we're going to let it sit. But I'm going to let this sit, and I'll come back to it in a while. Now, I rinsed it out, and there was still some very stubborn stain. Steel wool is not your cast iron friend, but this was so heavy and thick iron that I'm using a little bit of steel wool. Now, this was not taken off by the steel wool. This was just from the lemon juice, but I have a thick layer of rust still here, and I'm lightly going on here. And this has to be reseasoned quite a bit now. But if I want to use this pan again, I do want to get that rust off. And I did it all along the top. Once again, I'm just barely rubbing this. I'm not putting a lot of pressure here. Like I said, that came off with the lemon juice and the salt, but it is so much better than it was. I'm going to give it a little wash, dry it off very well. I got some on the bottom here too, I should probably do. Some of this is just surface rust and it's coming, oh no! That's why I have a towel here. All right, I'm just going to rinse this out, give it a good wash, dry it very well, oil the inside, oil the outside, and I'm going to pop this in the oven. This is my first round of adding a very light layer of vegetable oil. If it goes on too heavy, you'll want to buff off some of that oil because it will spot the inside of your pan and it could get sticky. Now I'm doing the bottom a little bit here only because I removed rust. If I'm just reseasoning a pan, I would just clean the inside, do a little bit of oil, and either pop it in the oven or heat it slowly on the top of the stove. Oh, I got my pizza pan in here. Totally forgot that. My pizza stone. I'm going to take that out. Don't need that in there. here is the pan after 3 rounds of putting it in the oven at 400 degrees for 30 minutes. I took it out, I let it cool, and then I oiled it again, and I did that 2 more times. There's still some areas on the side where I mentioned that the lemon juice really took off the rust and the old seasoning that was there. I'm okay with that because the more I use it, the better it will get. And I'm going to put it in for another seasoning. I did another little coat of oil there, and I'll be good to go. Over the course of this week, we met with many contractors for our many projects, including our garage doors. I don't know if I've even mentioned this in recent videos, but we're replacing the garage doors, and I have been on the hunt for doors that are carriage house style. And we didn't like either the material of the door or the shape of the windows. And when I say we, it was mostly me. Finally, our contractors found the perfect door. Square glass panes, and the material outside looks like a smooth wood finish versus a metal pressed wood look. And that's what I was going for our 1790s house. Before making a decision, I superimposed a photo of the doors onto our garage just to make sure we liked it. And doing this solidified our decision, and we said, let's go for it. Now, I was pretty sure I knew what windows we wanted for the upstairs. And when the sample came in, it really wasn't the same as what we had at Groton House. So we pivoted and we looked at some other samples, and I'm going to explain later in another video why I don't like the kitchen windows and what I'm trying to prevent with the new window purchase. Like I said, that's another video, but I think we've selected a window and we're getting ready to order these, and we'll probably order the same ones for the barn. Then I had a couple days that I was on the road looking for bathroom fixtures, which I have not solidified yet. And then I went to buy materials, one to get the wattle fence made. I picked up some rebar that was being custom cut for me, and they dubbed this the wattle maker or the toe breaker, but we'll see. And that's some of the rebar that I picked up. Like I said, they cut it for me, and I showed in a past video what I'm going to be doing with that. I'll show more later in another video. And then we picked up some stakes that we're going to start staking out the barn, and I picked up some bright pink string and flags. And then here's the bathroom. Ben went at the tiles, and I'm going to show you a little bit more. Well, Ben took care of the green tiles. There's a couple left because they're actually, the plumbing was drilled through them. But this confirms right here, I am so glad that it was removed. Do you remember last week I mentioned about the small little hole that was in the grout and blah, blah, blah? I'm going to say that a lot and I don't know why, blah, blah, blah. But anyways, I'm going to step in the tub here. Here's where the tile was with the grout, and then the old backer board. Behind it was sheetrock and the paper of the sheetrock, and that goes through to the wall right to the other side of what would be Emma's bedroom. So that's all going to have to be redone also because it's just gross. This through on this side is the chimney, but it was this wall that I could tell knocking on it was not sound. So I'm glad we had to do this. I'm not glad we had to do this. I'm glad we get to do this because it was needed, and now we're going to have a really healthy space behind the tiles. But yeah, this is where we are so far. Here in Emma's bedroom, I made mention of possibly scope creeping and making this window larger. It would have been like 3 small windows like I did at Groton House. But afterwards, I stood outside, looked at the house, and it just looks so much better with the 3 windows, because the 3 windows, if I was just to scan over here to the bedroom, they're just spaced out nice. So I'm going to leave it at this, and then they can just focus on the issues at hand. We got word that the contractors won't be here for a couple weeks, so I'm going to take up the cardboard and the tape. But we decided I'm going to cut this cardboard into squares or rectangles and keep it in storage, probably in the sugar shack, and use it in some garden beds or weed barrier. This has a really nice thick weight to it, so I think it will be perfect for that use. And I'm just, gonna ball up the tape. So that's what I'm doing this morning. Yay. But then I can also get the table back into the kitchen because that's been blocking things. So just trying to regain some of the functionality of our house and get rid of some construction zone feeling. Willow is so used to construction. We've been going through it ever since she's been a little puppy. I mean, she could care less than I'm working around her. But one thing I want to point out, if you do decide to use something like this as a weed barrier, which once again is a great product to use, it's biodegradable, you want to make sure you get one that has no ink on it, unless they're using a product that is safe. So that piece over there that has the printing on it, I won't be using that in any gardens with edible products. If I just want it as a weed barrier, I might use that, but this is what I'm saving for anything that's edible. So, like I said, she could care less. I've been trying to work around her. Don't want to interrupt Sleeping Beauty. I'm thinking this last pull will probably wake her up or get her to move. It's going to touch her paw. See? Good. You don't care, do you? All right. You get to stay. I will wait a moment.
I mentioned earlier that I did a bit of thrift shopping last week and shopping for the house. I even found these curtains, which were made for a single window. I modified them for $4.99. Now, these are going to be temporary for a while, but I do like how it finishes off the space. But I think I'm going to do a midweek video sharing some of these thrifted finds that I did purchase and some of the shops that I went to. I also have a video that will be coming out regarding garden beds, but I am waiting for a stain that I found that I can use on the raw pine that I can use in a vegetable garden, and I can't wait to share that with you. Now, in a moment, I have a little business update, but for those who don't want to hear it, see it, learn about it, thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you possibly Thursday, and I will also be here next Sunday. Bye now. Now, if you're still with me, this is a little shop update for Thresholding Gate, our online store. And if you already get our newsletter, this is something that you already know because last week I released 3 boxes that are new. We have, actually there's more than 3 that are new. We ended up doing a gardener's box, we have a floral arranger's box, and then we have multiple styles for mystery boxes. And within those boxes, I have singles, seconds, samples, and some product that I just don't have on the website right now. And I'm trying to make room for new items that are coming in. So in these mystery boxes, you're going to get something that might have a little boo-boo, a little dent, a little scratch, but there's also going to be items there that are new that I just either, like I said, didn't get them on the website, or I didn't have enough to put them on the website. So if you would like to see what we have online, like I'm pointing at the gardener's boxes, and I'm giving a sneak peek here because gardening season is here. I have only a few of these left now. I had quite a few, and I did quite a few shipments this past week. And in the white boxes there are some of the arranger's boxes. And here I'm just going to do a little quick showing of what I mean by seconds. And there's not a lot wrong with these, but I want first quality to go out in the boxes that I send for our theme boxes. So on this item, I'm holding it up. I don't even know what I didn't like about it. There might have been a little extra solder near the handle. And then on this pewter piece, there's just a little black dot at the top, but that's not going to go out in one of my theme boxes, but it will go out in one of my little mystery boxes. And then on this book, it has a little black smudge on the front there. that's all. And then I'm going to show another has just like a little bit of a crush on the binder. We actually got a whole shipment of these in that had little crushes and boo-boos. And then I'm going to show a tea in a moment. Actually, yeah. Oh, and then these are little snowflakes that we had in a Christmas theme box. I think it was 2 years ago. And these are just left over from that shipment. And then I have things like I said, Dent. The tea and size perfect. I just couldn't send these out, but these are going to be greatly discounted in these mystery boxes. And then I have items that were from the brick and mortar store that I just didn't put online. There's perfumes and soaps and notepads, and you never know what you're going to get in these boxes. And I do have Halloween boxes and Christmas. Those are dwindling quickly. But then we're going to do a mix and a blend of all seasons at one point. Once again, this is to help me clear out a couple years worth of mix and match inventory to make room for the new items coming in. So if you want to head over to my website out of curiosity or just to see what we're talking about, newenglandfineliving.com, and then you just click on the retail store and you click on gift boxes, and it will take you there. And I'll even put some links below for anybody who's interested. So once again, thank you for following along and watching this part of the video, and I will see you possibly Thursday, but most definitely on Sunday if all goes well. Bye now.